Welcome to Secrets of the Stones. Tonight's stone is Lapis Lazuli. Lapis Lazuli in ancient China was known as Tiang Qing Shi, which means celestial blue stone. It was also called Qing Jin Shi, which means clear gold stone. Lapis is the Latin word for stone. Azula comes from the Arabic and means blue. Lapis lazuli is an opaque, deep blue-colored stone that contains tiny hints of white or gold sparkles. Some varieties are purple or even greenish blue. Lapis lazuli is rare and imitations abound. True lapis contains flecks of pyrite that resemble gold. Lapis lazuli is composed of sodium, calcium, aluminum silicate, sulfur sulfate. It contains a variety of minerals, including quinite, sodalite, nosolite, calcite, pyrite, diopside, augite, mica, hornblende, and predominantly blue lazurite. The rich blue shade has an effect on the liver and the curious organs, particularly the brain and bone marrow. It is a framework silicate with a cubic crystal structure. The structure can become almost anything and is described most accurately as being almost amorphous or without form. This variable crystal structure opens opportunities for endless possibilities with the caveat of some boundaries imposed by its outward cubic structure. Lapis lazuli is a byproduct of the transformation of chalk into marble. The tectonic shifts that transpired to create lapis occurred 200 million years ago when the Indo-Australian plate drove northward through the Tethys Sea into the Eurasian plate, as pictured. The sediments involved underwent intense changes in temperature and pressure. Geologically, these conditions are rare, which explains why lapis lazuli has been sought after throughout the ages. The best quality stones come from the Himalayan limestone belts of Afghanistan, where it has been mined for over 6,000 years. The esteemed physician Li Shizhen recommended it for its effects on the conception vessel, which is known as the channel of bonding. It is said to have protective properties. Mothers can hold it while breastfeeding to promote bonding. It is especially beneficial for the person who finds themselves running away from commitments to the meaningful things in life. This can manifest as difficulty maintaining long-term relationships or a tendency to stay busy with multiple projects. The heart craves novelty and new experiences, and lapis lazuli plays a pivotal role in managing these tendencies. Lapis lazuli purifies the blood to clear stagnant emotions. It calms the spirit to bind and eliminate toxins, especially the kind that cause bone spurs. Lapis lazuli nourishes deficient liver blood. In traditional Chinese medicine, the spleen makes blood, the heart governs or moves blood, directs blood, and the liver stores the blood. When liver blood is consumed by heat, it begins to stagnate, which leads to deficiency of qi and by proxy of blood, because qi is required to generate blood. Stagnant liver qi is unable to move blood or direct it to the heart. And if the kidneys are also deficient, this can lead to a hormonal deficiency. The liver will respond by prioritizing its blood and sending it to nourish the kidneys, which is the seat of the kidney, of the essence. And this will deprive the blood will deprive the heart of much needed blood. When the heart is deprived of blood, there can be heart palpitations as a result. Lapis lazuli enhances the circulation of liver blood in the heart and the brain, and descends liver yin to support kidney yin. It is good for conditions where heat is rising, such as with high blood pressure. By releasing stagnation in the lower body, it helps address conditions such as ovarian cysts, difficult defecation, and difficult urination. So let's see what the functions and uses are. Well, as mentioned before, lapis lazuli has an almost amorphous crystal structure, but outwardly it has a cubic crystal structure. Cubic crystals have an affinity for the spleen and stomach earth temperament. I've done another video on this in the foundations playlist on my channel, but everyone resonates with a different temperament, and some more than one. So you can check out that video and see which temperament you most resonate with, or if there's a combination, and then choose a stone accordingly. In general, though, cubic crystal structures help us establish boundaries. Because the cube shape resembles a strict boundary, they also affirm our sense of security, tonify deficiency, consolidate qi, and help us maintain unresolved latency. And as I understand it, latency is the process of storing unprocessed trauma or emotions. When trauma occurs, sometimes the 12 meridians are overwhelmed, and an extra lowell meridian or connecting meridian will be created specifically to store this trauma. Anatomically, cubic crystals resonate with the skull as well as the facial bones and the bite. This is because they are associated with the earth element and the spleen and stomach earth meridians. The stomach meridian begins under the eyes and travels along the jawline. And so they are good for problems with the facial bones, temporomandibular joint problems, and problems with the bite, as well as insecurity, insomnia, irregular menstruation, and irregular bowel habits. As mentioned before, lapis lazuli nourishes the blood of the liver and moves the blood that is stored in the liver to the heart, the brain, and the sinews. And in traditional Chinese medicine, the sinews are controlled by the liver. So having enough blood in the liver will nourish the sinews, or the tendons, and the eyes, and the heart. It breaks up stagnant blood and stimulates the marrow to produce blood, and is beneficial for muscle spasms or cramps, joint pain, poor vision, poor hearing and ringing in the ears, and palpitations, which are all symptoms associated with a lack of blood, heart blood, and liver blood. Lapis lazuli descends liver yin to nourish kidney yin. Nourishing kidney yin inadvertently supports kidney yang. So in traditional Chinese medicine, the yin and yang of the kidneys are responsible for producing hormones. Lapis lazuli is beneficial for conditions caused by deficiency of the kidneys, such as hot flashes, night sweats, and other heat-related symptoms associated with menopause, hyperthyroidism, hearing loss, and lower back pain, which are two symptoms associated with kidney yang deficiency. By clearing heat from the blood, lapis lazuli calms the spirit, and it is beneficial for scanty menstruation, vertigo, headaches caused by blood deficiency where heat has consumed the blood, and bone spurs caused by toxins in the blood. By nourishing the blood, lapis lazuli helps to develop comfort in oneself. It can also be beneficial for emotional distress, hypertension, insomnia, irritability, restlessness, bipolar disorder, depression, and anxiety. Lapis lazuli regulates the liver in general and is helpful for treating symptoms of liver yang rising, including facial tics, sore throat, irritation of the vocal cords, and plum pit chi, or the feeling of energy rushing upwards and getting lodged in the throat. When the liver blood is nourished, it has an anchoring effect on liver yang, and will prevent this liver yang from rising up and affecting the upper sensory organs. And as the liver is nourished, its effects on the spleen are reduced. Lapis lazuli is beneficial for treating symptoms associated with an overactive liver qi acting on the spleen, which include slow digestion, poor metabolism, and digestive pain. It is ideal for people with hypertension who have difficulty finishing projects or who have too many projects in the air with none of them getting finished. It is beneficial for cultivating wealth and prosperity, particularly for people who feel they do not have enough. Lapis lazuli strengthens the solar plexus, throat, and third eye chakras and can help cultivate astral travel. It promotes a sense of connection through speech, autonomy over one's voice, and clear expression of feelings and thoughts. So, what are the practical applications? Lapis lazuli is most therapeutic when it is placed on the midline of the body and is most effective when it makes contact with the skin. The stone resonates with the navel and the first point of the heart channel, which is located in the center of the armpit and is known as Ji Quan, or highest spring. Place lapis on the side of the neck next to the Adam's apple, near the pulsation of the carotid artery, on a point known as stomach 9, pictured on the screen, to address hyperthyroidism. Place the stone on the midline of the abdomen in the V shape formed by the ribs and the base of the sternum, on a point known as conception vessel, or REN 15, to encourage communication between the heart and kidney meridians by way of the Baomai channel, the meridian that links the upper and lower regions of the body. And the Baomai channel is pictured here. It's not pictured, but these are the ancestral sinews. And the center sinew is a curved line underneath the thorax, which connects the pelvis to the ribs and also to the kidneys. So the sternum to the lower body, and it forms a loop which connects the heart to the kidneys. And this heart-kidney communication is very beneficial for the hormones. And especially during menopause, it's very important for preventing insomnia. You can place lapis lazuli on the midline of the abdomen, midway between the navel and the tip of the sternum, on a point known as conception vessel 12, to stimulate digestion and break up food accumulation, which can present with pain after, or sluggishness after eating. Place small stones on the muscles of the spine at the level of the lower border of the spinous process of the ninth thoracic vertebra, when a point known as bladder 18 pictured on the left, and on the end of the crease of the inner knee, on a point known as liver 8, to nourish liver blood. These 2 points are popular liver points. Liver 8 in particular nourishes liver blood, and bladder 18 is good for deficiency of the liver in general. You can use the Lapis Lazuli wand to scrape the crease of the inner knee to nourish the blood and to stimulate the relationship between the liver and the spleen. This placement benefits the digestion. You can place Lapis Lazuli beneath the breasts in the space between the ribs, in direct line with the nipples, on the point known as liver 14, to restore balance to the condition of having too many projects going on at once. Place Lapis Lazuli in the depression beneath the ball of the foot, on a point known as kidney 1, bubbling spring, to encourage a sense of adequacy. Small stones can be taped to the point and walked upon them to stimulate it. Meditating with the stone touching the kidney 1 point nourishes the blood and yin substances. This nourishment increases feelings of worth, self-respect, appreciation, and love for the self. Place Lapis Lazuli directly over the ovaries to help dissipate ovarian cysts. An apophyllite wand can be waved over them to help further break up accumulations, such as ovarian cysts, thyroid nodules, or other areas of hardness. Wear a Lapis Lazuli amulet with the stone touching the base of the throat, on a point known as conception vessel 22, to regulate the thyroid. Wearing an amulet with the stone touching the conception vessel 22 point, or Ren 22 point, helps us remember the effects of our words and encourages impeccable speech. When used in a stone layout in combination with other stones, Lapis Lazuli acts as a stabilizer. It can be placed directly beneath the tailbone or in the depression behind the balls of the feet to strengthen the ability of the kidney qi to support the spleen qi and to regulate the liver qi. Placing the stone on the bottom of the feet will bring its therapeutic effects to the level of the bones, because the kidneys are connected with the bones. If digestion issues are the primary concern, Lapis Lazuli is best placed underneath the big toe. Powdered Lapis Lazuli can be mixed with petroleum jelly to create a plaster that can be applied topically to help heal bone spurs and fractures. The powder can also be applied inside of the mouth to treat conditions affecting the jawbone. And this is a picture of an ancient nun. It is known that the powdered pigment of Lapis Lazuli was used to paint, and religious paintings in particular. And it is thought that the stone got there when the nun licked the paintbrush and continuously. But incidentally, it is good for conditions affecting the jawbone because it has a cubic crystal structure and resonates with the stomach meridian, which traverses the jaw. Lapis Lazuli jewelry affirms the belief in having enough and helps the wearer affirm the intention to create prosperity in his or her life. A word of caution, however: lapis lazuli elixirs can only be used in small amounts and for short periods of time. The stone can rust if it is exposed to water for too long. Because of its broad chemical composition, caution should be taken when consuming any elixir made with lapis. Lapis lazuli is contraindicated for people who have low blood pressure. So this lapis lazuli elixir, which can only be taken for a short period of time, can help address symptoms of liver yang rising, such as vertex headaches, facial tics, convulsions, and tremors. And it can also help reduce ovarian cysts. The elixir can be used as a rinse to help manage conditions affecting the bones of the jaw. Lapis lazuli can be combined with sodalite to nourish the blood. Sodalite is often confused with lapis, but is slightly lighter in weight and less brilliant in color. You can add howlite to the elixir or powders to enhance the treatment and encourage regeneration of scar tissue. When combined with rhodochrosite, lapis lazuli helps restore vision after a stroke. But this is not medical advice, so the traditional way that they would use these elixirs and stones would be with the intention, the continual intention, perpetual intention of a particular concern. And so you would wear the stone continuously for a long period of time. But definitely see a healthcare practitioner if there's anything going on, such as a stroke or loss of vision after a stroke. Celestial or tabby crystal can be added to any of the above combinations to support the intention of the treatment. And these crystals, as you can see, they are like quartz crystals, but they're a little more rare. And quartz crystals are known to magnify any intention. So when the intention is there, that's what this Taoist medicine is based upon. Lapis lazuli can be cleansed with hematite. You can recharge its yin energy by placing it in a bed of sea salt. It should not be cleansed in water because it has a tendency to rust. And here are some images of lapis lazuli. And these are very ancient. Here is an Achaemenid lion amulet. Apparently, the lapis lazuli folklore is the oldest known of any stone. Here's an amulet of a lion-headed eagle with lapis wings, head and tail feathers of bitumen covered with gold leaf, representing the god Ningirusu, the god of fertility and irrigation, an ancient god. Here's a Sumerian bronze pin with lapis lazuli. Here is jewelry from ancient Sumeria of lapis lazuli. Lion. Here's the goddess. I'm not sure which one. I think it's ancient Sumerian, or it could be Isis or Inanna. These are lapis lazuli cylinder seals from ancient Mesopotamia. The stone is relatively soft. It has a 5.5 rating on the Mohs hardness scale and was used to carve things. Lapis lazuli was placed in tombs of royal figures as an offering to the gods upon reaching the afterlife. In the mythology of the Sumerians, the goddess Inanna, who was the predecessor of Aphrodite and Venus, traveled to the world of people with the help of lapis lazuli and measured the length of human lives. These crystals were considered to be a divine flesh, and according to the beliefs, the gods were crystalline beings. Here's Inanna as a belief found in Mesopotamia. The myth of Inanna, the Sumerian goddess of love, and her descent and return from the underworld date from as early as 4000 BCE. Inanna entered the underworld bearing the insignias of her rank, including a lapis lazuli necklace and rod. Here is a mother goddess amulet from Anatolia from the 7th to 5th millennium BCE. This is the standard of Ur, which is estimated to be around 45,000 years old. It's a wooden box inlaid with lapis lazuli and shell. On one side depicts a battle scene, and the other a religious banquet, to represent the dual aspects of Sumerian kingship, which means military leader versus mediator between humans and gods. Here's an ancient Sumerian lyre with a bull's head that is decorated with lapis. It was found in the tomb of Puabi, who was thought to be a princess or priestess. And perhaps Puabi played the lyre. This bead with an inscription was found in the treasure of Ur in a clay pot in one of the palaces. It is inscribed with the name of a king of the first dynasty of Ur, Mesanapada. And here's a close look at the inlaid lapis on a Mesopotamian relief. This is very high quality lapis. Here's what was traded. Here's a lapis necklace, ancient. The Egyptians also worshipped lapis lazuli or found it venerable, and it was included in the adornments of royal figures to present to the gods in the afterlife. This mat amulet of lapis is from the late period, 664 to 332 BCE. This is a lapis lazuli amulet for a royal tomb. And these are lapis beads that were found. Ancient Egyptian cornflower amulets are pictured here. They also had poppy amulets made out of carnelian. These amulets were associated with healing, the removal of pain, and the god Osiris, who was the god of agriculture. And the cornflower and poppy flower were associated with these properties because they were particularly resilient among the flowers. Perhaps that's one theory. Here's one, Eye of Ra or Eye of Horus and Bengal in an Egyptian scarab. This is a carving from ancient China of Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion. Artists like Michelangelo, Da Vinci, and Fra Angelico used lapis lazuli as a pigment. It was known as ultramarine. It was thought to be the finest and most expensive of all the blue pigments. Here is an image of the Sistine Chapel, which Michelangelo used lapis lazuli to paint almost all of the prominent figures in this scene, in this painting. But lapis lazuli was reserved for the clothing of the central figures of the painters, and especially of the clothing for the Virgin Mary. Well, thank you for joining me today on Secrets of the Stones. I had fun talking about lapis lazuli, and I hope you're having a wonderful weekend or weekday, whichever it is. I'll see you next time.